Dr. Honey, what do you make of this plan to get energy, I guess, out of companies over sort of a high demand period where they get paid not to take the energy?
Well, Jeff, it just illustrates what a debacle our power system is in the state of Western Australia. I mean, imagine you're going to get companies to shut down their operations. That is a direct impact on our state economy because the government can't provide reliable power.
It's a scheme they used to have years ago. I think Dr. Nahan tried to shut it down where they were paying money, and when they eventually went to ask them for the energy, the company said no.
Yeah, well, no surprise. And look, as you know, I worked in industry. You know, shutting your power down or losing your power has enormous disruption. You don't want to do it. But this is a failure. I mean, we've got this debacle at the moment, not enough coal. You can't get enough gas down the pipeline to replace the coal. Heading into summer, and we're looking for a repeat of what the dreadful blackouts we had last year.
The movement of coal, bringing coal in from Newcastle, which is quite an extraordinary thing, taking to the collie, but the logistics of it's quite mind-blowing. The number of vehicle movements that are going to be required to get the coal to collies is huge.
Yeah, look, it is, and completely unnecessary. We literally got hundreds of millions of tonnes of coal at Collie. Bill Johnson's the Energy Minister and the Mines Minister, and here we are running out of coal in the state of Western Australia. And you're right, we're not set up to import large-scale bulk commodities into either Fremantle or into Bunbury, so this is going to be a logistics nightmare, costing literally tens of millions of dollars. It's either the energy users or the taxpayers or both who are going to pay for this. Again, just a debacle.
The secrecy surrounding it, I mean, we don't know what they're paying for it, whether they're paying the spot price, whether they've got a discount price, the cost of moving it to Collie. Do you think that Synergy or the government should be open about what it's costing?
Well, of course they should be transparent. I've said it a number of times, Jeff, the least transparent government in the history of Western Australia. They should come clean. I mean, sometimes things happen, but come clean. Someone's paying for this. It's either the energy users or it's the taxpayers. Who's paying? How much is it going to cost?
And the Premier has admitted that the wriggle room, if you like, between, for energy supply at peak times has narrowed. I mean, that's leads to the possibility or a greater possibility of blackouts.
Look, absolutely. And look, what a debacle. You've got Bill Johnson, who wants to lecture everyone in the media and everyone else in Parliament about how clever he is and how well he does his job. On Tuesday, he says the shutdown of that Santos gas supply, or at least the reduction, would have no impact on business or industry. A day later, the Yarra ammonia plant has to shut down because it can't get enough gas. And then on Friday, the Premier has to come out and mop up behind his Energy Minister and admit that this gas shortage could have an impact on consumers, energy consumers in Western Australia.
The West reporting this morning that some of the generators down in at Muja had to be brought back online. Has summer arrived early? I mean, does that say anything to you?
Well, look, warm weather in December is not unusual. This is what we saw last December. Leading into Christmas, we saw those blackouts and high energy consumption right across the state. No surprise, you get hot days in December, and of course January and February are always hotter. So, our power network is in a vulnerable position, and the government has failed to give security to the people of Western Australia. They're going to have reliable power over summer.
Does the current Energy Minister have a future?
Look, I don't see why he would. As I say, you've got the Premier having to clean up behind him because he says things which clearly can't be substantiated. Think of all the portfolios. The Minister for Corrective Services, the absolute disgrace of Banksia Hill, in the Mines Department, struggling to get approvals done on time, and energy, it's just in chaos every way you look. This Minister needs to focus on one thing. The Premier needs to use the Christmas break as a time to do his reshuffle and put someone in the energy job that can do it properly.
You're calling him to be sacked from all his portfolios?
Well, look, he can stand down or the Premier can move him on, but it's quite clear he's not coping.
Can I just ask you about Halls Creek? They're not pressing ahead with that area out in the bush so that the young juveniles can go out there and thrash whatever cars they steal. Is that a good idea?
Look, there are obviously a range of solutions. The point here is it's the Shire being left to try and solve a problem that is a failure of the state government. I mean, crime in the north is spiralling out of control, and it's youth crime, and people are terrified. And this is nothing new. We've been saying this to the government for months and months. One, they ridicule the claims. and two, they claim everything's fine. We've got Minister for Police, Paul Papalia, claiming that they've got crime in the north under control, that in fact crime is getting better. We've got the Minister for Community Services, the Honourable Simone McGurk, making claims that they've got various programs in place. Everyone who lives in the north knows it's spiralling out of control, and a town like Halls Creek is becoming a place that people don't want to be in.
Can you hear their desperation when you hear them speak, people who live up in that area?
Oh, Jeff, absolutely desperate, and this isn't new. I mean, this has been going on for some time, and we come down in Perth, we get all the spin from the government about how things are getting better. Everyone in the region knows it's getting worse, and what do we hear from the government? You know, we had a crime forum, my colleague, the Honourable Neil Thompson, put on crime forums last February. It was only after that the government came forward with an improved package to try and deal with issues. Completely failed. Things have got dramatically worse than then. And of course now we have the Shire having to organise its own forum with the police. Where's the Police Minister? Where's the Premier? I mean, the Premier wants to stand front and centre when there are glossy announcements about something. The Premier should be facing the people of the north of the state and saying what he's doing to help improve this problem.
The police union yesterday calling for being able to use new tactics, if you like, to deal with some of these high-speed chases. Should the government be listening to them?
Well, look, I mean, obviously they're on the ground and they have to deal with this, and I might say I've got the hugest amount of sympathy for the police. The police in those communities are beside themselves with distress as well. They're worried for the kids, but they're also worried for the community where there's just this enormous level of crime. So I think the Minister should be sitting down with the police, sitting down with the community and sitting down with experts, trying to work out a better solution.